If it's OPC, we've got it covered. Welcome to OPC Expert Plugged In, where we break down the tech and tackle real-world challenges. Let's dive in.
You know that feeling, right? That sinking feeling when a critical system hiccups.
Oh, yeah.
And suddenly the data you absolutely need just isn't there. Or worse, the whole operation grinds to a halt.
It's definitely a pain point, or a real jolt of frustration, especially in industrial automation.
Exactly. If you're involved in that world, you've probably been there.
It's a common challenge. I mean, when your key processes rely on that constant data feed from OPC servers, even a short interruption can cause, well, big problems.
Serious repercussions. Keeping that data flowing reliably is just non-negotiable.
Absolutely vital.
Okay, so let's dive right into a solution that tackles this directly. We're talking about OPC redundancy, specifically within OPC Expert.
Right.
Think of it like a safety net for your OPC server connections. It's designed to keep that critical data moving nice and smooth.
That's a good way to put it.
So our mission today really is just to get a clear picture of what this OPC redundancy thing is, how it helps keep those connections solid without getting, totally bogged down in the super technical weeds.
Precisely. We're aiming for the core concept, continuous data availability. And we'll look at the different ways OPC Expert helps you achieve that, because there's flexibility depending on what you actually need.
Okay, so bottom line, what does OPC redundancy do? Give us the quick version.
Well, in a nutshell, OPC Redundancy in OPC Expert lets you connect to two OPC servers. You've got your main one, the primary, and then a backup.
Okay, a pair.
Yeah, and the system actively watches the health of both connections. The whole point is to stop downtime, stop data loss, if that primary connection hits a snag.
Two servers watching each other. Got it. Now, I saw mentions of different modes. Hot, warm, cold. What's the deal there?
Ah, right. That's all about flexibility. It's kind of like having a spare tire.
Okay.
So hot is like having a fully inflated spare ready to swap in immediately. It mirrors the primary in real time.
Instantly ready.
Exactly. Warm is like the spare's there, it's synced up, but maybe needs a quick top-up of air, a little moment to become fully active.
Right, almost ready.
And cold, well, that's the spare in the trunk. You need to get the tools out, spend a bit more time getting it ready.
Takes more effort to switch over.
Right, so you pick the level of readiness you need based on how critical that immediate switch is for your operation and, budget considerations too.
Different levels of standby depending on urgency. That makes sense. So the primary server trips up, then the automatic failover happens. Tell us about that part, the magic.
Yeah, that's the core of it. The system's built to automatically spot problems with that primary server. Could be a lost connection, maybe a software error, anything that stops the data.
Oh.
And when that happens, OPC Redundancy and OPC Expert just seamlessly switches over to the backup server automatically.
Automatically is the key word there.
It really is. That ensures your data keeps flowing without anyone needing to jump in and do it manually.
So no 3 a.m. scramble to flip a switch, big relief. What about when the primary gets healthy again? Does it switch back?
Good question. Yes, there's an option for automatic failback.
Ah, failback.
So once the system sees the primary server is back online and running smoothly, it can automatically switch the data flow back to it.
Okay.
Which is useful if you want to get back to using your main server. Maybe it's more powerful or just your preferred setup once it's stable again.
Okay, so it handles the automatic back and forth. But what if the connection itself is technically okay, but the data is weird, like stale data or a value way out of whack? Can you trigger a switch based on that?
Yes, and that's a really important aspect. The control you have, it's not just about a total connection loss.
Right.
OPC Redundancy lets you configure custom triggers, specific conditions you define.
Like what?
So, for example, maybe a key data point hasn't updated for, say, 30 seconds. That could indicate stale data.
Okay, yeah.
Or maybe a critical temperature or pressure reading goes way above its safe limit. You can set those conditions as triggers to force a failover to the backup, even if the primary server seems connected.
I see.
This level of customization lets you really tailor the redundancy to protect against specific operational issues.
Now, thinking about the real world, factories, plants, they often have a mix of older systems and newer ones. Does this redundancy work with different setups, OPC DA, OPC UA?
That's a key point, compatibility. To be truly useful, it needs to work broadly. And yes, OPC Redundancy and OPC Expert support both OPC Data Access, or DA.
The classic one.
Right, which is still very common.
Yeah.
And also OPC Unified Architecture Data Access, UADA, which is the more modern standard.
Okay.
So it can slot into a wide range of system architectures, whether you're dealing with legacy equipment or the latest tech.
That flexibility is definitely important. Okay, so wrapping this up. OPC Redundancy in OPC Expert is basically about making sure you always have access to your essential industrial data.
That's the goal.
Even if your primary server decides to take a break, it uses a backup, watches both constantly, switches automatically when needed.
And offers those different readiness levels, hot, warm, cold, plus the custom triggers.
All with that focus on making the setup less painful.
Exactly. It's about building a more resilient, more reliable OPC environment for your operations.
Well, for you, the listener, really think about the critical data that your operations depend on. How much could implementing a solid redundancy strategy like this one impact your peace of mind and maybe your overall efficiency? Definitely something to chew on.